Well, that's aggravating. I've been out here riding around for no telling how long, looking for my unit. Finally found it, buried under right there in that crack behind that other one. So I couldn't find it. Wrong row and all that. That's aggravating. But at least I did find it, so that's a good thing. If you ever do find yourself in a situation where you got one blocking your unit, always check out the unit first before you go to moving stuff. It's just a time killer to move it and then have to move it back, and you know, if something were to happen where you weren't even going to take the unit. Right, so I did find the packet and the keys, and now I'm going to hook this one, move it, and get it where I can get to mine. And, well, got it dug out and hooked up, got my lug nuts torqued, checked for damages, got everything squared away. Everything looked really good, got all the doors locked up, and weight distribution on. Now I didn't put my little extensions on for my safety chains, and I may have to, but I think it's gonna be fine. I was watching them in the camera when I turned out back there and they seemed alright. Got my padlock on. It's got one of these kind of breakaway cables on it. And yep, I think I'm ready to get going. See how far I make it tonight. About to come in Tulsa, right here where the QT is in Tulsa. And low tire light comes on. Something you don't want to see. Look like that's the culprit. I hope anyway. If it ain't, that ain't it. I didn't see nothing else in it, so I reckon we'll plug it and get on back down the road. Alright guys, so there's my new tire plug kit. I've never opened it. And then I went ahead and got my air hose out, because in the event that this thing starts going flat fast, I won't be able to put air back in it real fast. I don't want it coming off the wheel when I do this. First thing I'm gonna do is I got the air chucked on and I'm airing it up. I want to get it aired back up good and tight before I start messing with it. Alright, the compressor's still going. I'm letting it build back up because I don't want to be real low on air and start losing all of my air out of the tire too fast. So what I'm gonna do, this is my new tire plug kit that it's the first time I opened it. I've already got my plug staged up, ready to go in. And I'm gonna lay it over here to the side. And got this. So I'm gonna try to see about grabbing a hold of this. Here we go. Here we go. Yep. Show y'all what I got here. That's pretty good right there. I'll take this through. I'm gonna push this down there and there till I almost lose the rubber. Maybe even a little bit more because of the tread. I'm gonna twist her up. I'm gonna yank it out. Well, apparently I was supposed to tighten that up before I used it. That's the thing. You go off and buy you some tools that you think's gonna be real good, and they are, but you ain't never used them before. And what it is, it got interchangeable ends. And I'm sure there's a tire man on here somewhere gonna tell me all about how I'm doing it wrong, but it is what it is. Twist her up a little bit. Make sure it's down there if I can, even with the tread. Yank it out. Right like that. Now, I'll go find something to clean that up with and check it for leaks. I'm gonna put my air hole back on it and get it aired up good. That's why I have an onboard air. I really love my onboard air out running roads like this. I ran over a stop like that in Montana. Nothing around for miles and miles. No tire shop, no air hose, no nothing. And I didn't think, I had to come off my airbags with that little dinky compressor it got from the factory. And it barely got me to shine. But I was having to stop every so often. About every 20 miles I had to stop and put 10 pounds of pressure in to keep it above 20. It was just a bad day. But it wasn't a bad day because I made it. Got the Little America, them guys helped me plug it, or let me use tools to plug it. But when I pulled that joker out, the tire went all the way down and come off a wheel, so then I had to borrow a jack. And that's why I get my air hose right here before I pull anything out now. I'm gonna soak it, look for bubbles. I don't see any bubbles. I'm gonna start putting my tools up and check it again. Then we'll be out of here. But they're right there, and that make for a bad day. Like I said, I'm kind of happy with the tire plug kit. It did a good job. I'm gonna link in the description if you want one to carry with you. I do like that it's got the big handles versus the little plastic handles. I just should have read the instructions and tightened the handles up first. I didn't realize they got Allen keys in them and you can swap it for this end, or I think there's another end, you know. But I will link them in the description. All right, guys. So it is Sunday morning, and I just got up here in Sarah, Oklahoma, walking around checking all my stuff. After I got the nail in the tire last night, I'm looking the trailer tires over really good, because you do not want to get a nail in one of these and have a flat going down the road. I've already been around it a time or two. Put my plate on, still looking for open windows and broken windows, anything that may be bent. Not really seeing anything. As far as the trailer goes, it looks good. So check out these tires again. And normally I think that green cap that it's got on it means it got nitrogen in it. And if that's the case, that's one reason I don't put a gauge on them. I don't want to take a chance on letting one of those out or starting a leak in the valve. As long as they're not bubbled out at the bottom, or if they even remotely look low or don't look right, I'll check them. If they don't look the same, I'll check them. But if I kick them and they're tight, I usually leave it at that on those. Now, if they don't have the green cap on them, I'll check them. And it may not make a bit of difference in the world. But, we ain't got my fuel turned on, and I checked my tire that I plugged last night. And probably can't even see it. It's kind of turned black. There it is. Might blends in real good with the rubber. And I sprayed it, no leak. And I sprayed it and didn't see any bubbles. And last night, whenever I aired it up, it had I put 70 pounds of pressure in it. I woke up, it was at 65. But all the other tires dropped 4 to 5 pounds of pressure too, so I think I'm good. I'm not concerned about that at this time. I will, when I get home, take it to the place, Lexington Tire, where I bought the tires at, and have it patched from the inside. But if I don't get there for 3 weeks, I trust the plug. So I'm in California. I'm on 58 between Barstow and Bakersfield, headed to Arroyo Grande, and looking for Highway 223. I think it's about 6-7 miles on down through here. But I liked it. Last time I went that way, it was fine, except for there's nothing out there. So make sure you're full of fuel. Make sure you've got extra def, all that stuff, because especially pulling a camper or pulling a trailer of any size, you know, there's not a lot to get into. There's not a lot out there at all, but when you do find something, there's one convenience store that I remember, and you do cross I-5 and some other major highways, but I didn't see anything really close. On the way back out, I think I did see another, like a little fuel stop. But on the way in, the way where it was positioned, I didn't catch it on the way in. But anyway, I had another friend came out here going to the same place, Trailer Hitch RV in Arroyo Grande, and he called, was asking how I went, and I told him I went this way, and he said he'd plan on going the other way because this way looked really bad curvy. I said, it does look that way on the map, and it can have some it does have some zigzags in it, but it's not bad. So just figured I'd throw that out there if you were headed over here. And if you get up here, turn on 223, and I've not went over the directions. I thought I could remember them in my head, but I'm not. I think it's, well, it's like Highway 86 or 866 or something like that you get on. I may be totally wrong about that too, but anyway, I do know you turn left on 223 and run it across through there. And it's only gave the 2 different directions on Google Maps if I have seen it. But so I think I'm about 3 hours away, 2.5, 3 hours away. I had a friend that was going down the road yesterday, and he had a low tire light come on, and when he got to looking around, he got out, was looking at his tire, and nothing, it was low, but he couldn't find anything stuck in it or anything, and he reached up over and grabbed hold of the valve stem, and it was leaking from the valve stem. And he found a tire shop at 5 o'clock last night, or yesterday evening, that would get him in and take care of him. And when he got to the tire shop, they were working on the one, and he goes around checking the others, and one had swelled up, and the others had 3 of the others were leaking. So yeah, they're pretty much all ready to go. And I asked him, I said, "Do you not make sure they put new valve stems on when they put new tires on?" He said, "I thought they did, but I dropped it off, picked it up, and I thought it was on the receipt that they replaced them." But anyway, make sure you get valve stems, especially if you got the rubber valve stems. Every time you get tires, they may last a couple of different times, but who wants to be out in the middle of nothing and find out they didn't, you know? So I'm thinking it is Tuesday, and I've already ran. I went to Sacramento, came back, got this one. I'll deliver it today, and then I'm going to, I think I'm going to try to turn around and go back and do 2 more back-to-back. That's a lot. And if you try to do stuff like that, you'll wind up burning yourself out. I do. It's not intentional, but you know, it does. what burns me out is not being in a truck driving so much, is being away from home so much. I just like being at home. And I'm not complaining. I don't mind this at all, but you can be gone from home too long. So that's another thing. If you're looking at getting into this, if you got a family, if you got kids, especially young kids, that can affect that. I mean, you can run the short stuff. There are runs that could get you back and forth to the house, but you just got to make sure it's going to work for you. But on the plus side, look at this freaking view. I mean, what other job do you get? I know there's other jobs, like a lot of different jobs have a lot of different perks, but this is ears are popping coming off this hill. That is I've only been through here twice, and that just kind of takes my breath away every time I see it. I know it's not the same as in person, but still, pretty awesome. So, yeah, like I said, I'll be over here probably about 12:30 or so. You can get this one off and get started back, and I will try to go over the money a little bit on this one, what it paid, what I actually cleared after my fuel and all that stuff. Last trip, I was on pins and needles coming out through here because I had let my truck get low on diesel exhaust fluid, and I came all the way through here with a light on, and I don't trust the gauge. I don't even trust the mileage, keeping it on mileage, because I know sometimes, most of the time, when I first bought the truck, it didn't matter what I was towing. I got over 2,000 miles on a tank of diesel exhaust fluid every single trip. But this go around, here recently, when I was coming across through here, I had it figured that I would get at least 1,600 miles on that tank. I got 300 miles short. So that's what messed me up on that. Now, according to the math, I should have more than plenty to went in and come back out, but I don't know if you guys remember, but my diesel exhaust fluid injector got stuck open back months ago. It's been a while back, and I wasn't getting 400 miles on a full tank of DEF, and it was just blowing it out the exhaust pipe. It was pretty rough, and I stopped and bought the injector and put it in the parking lot over at Kingpin at the Petro, and that straightened it up. I mean, it's been doing fine ever since, but it's real sporadic about how much it's going to use. You can't really time it or plan it out, and it not having a gauge, like the Dodges do, and I guess I've never even looked at the Fords, but with it not having a gauge, that's pretty aggravating. But one thing I do like about it is if the truck was deleted, if you were going to delete yours, you wouldn't have that gauge up there, that worthless gauge up there now, but mine's not deleted, so it would be nice to have an actual full-scale gauge on it, one that goes from 100% all the way down to 0 instead of starting at 30% and coming down. And I know a lot of people say, well, once that light comes on, you've got 1,000 miles. It used to say that on the dash. It would say 1,000 miles to reduce power or whatever. Now it comes on and it says 185 miles to reduce power, and then, or whatever it says when the DEF light comes on, and it'll sit there on 28%, and when it'll drop to 27, it goes from 27 to low. It's like it's skipping that whole, I just don't trust it. So yeah, that's what happened last time. I mean, I was on pins and needles hoping I would run across the store across through here, because it's a pretty good ways between anything. There are a couple of little places right when you first get on 223, but if you blink, you passed it. And that's kind of what happened to me last time. As soon as I got out on this part of the trip, that's when the light come on. And luckily, I do not remember the name of the town, but up here, it's quite a ways ahead yet. But there is a convenience store on the right, and there's just enough room for you to pull off on the side of the road, pull up right up in front of it, and they had food and def and all kind of stuff. So that was perfect. There it is. I've already got all my equipment put up, everything with my battery. He's using it for the slide outs, and they're in there checking it out. And like I said, I've already got my hitch off and everything ready to go. When they get done checking it in, I'll be out of here. So got the camper dropped in Arroyo Grande and came, I guess it's about 9 more miles down the road to Pizmo Beach. If you saw the video a couple weeks ago, I was really hyped up on getting over here and staying for the weekend, but I couldn't afford it. It was way out of my price range. It was crazy. And I've been thinking about it, and I went home, or went and ran some more, and I'm back. So as of right now, I am sitting at the, I think it's called the Inn by the Pier, and I got a room here for the night, and it was expensive. I don't really want to talk about it. Probably 3 times more than what I would normally pay for a room, which it's still cheaper than it was the last time I was here. So not something I'm gonna do all the time, but like I said, I've only seen the beach from the west coast, I think once, maybe twice before, but I've never stayed on the beach. So I did get a room, and I'm going to give you guys a shot of the room when I get in there, because it's, if I'm right, it's probably one of the nicer rooms I got. If not, I don't even want to talk about how much that nicer room would be. So anyway, I wanted to give a kind of a breakdown on the trip coming out. It was a 29-foot bumper pull. It picked up in Middlebury, Indiana, and came to Arroyo Grande. Alright. Pretty simple. You know, hook up, check for damages, make sure there's nothing bad wrong. I did get a nail in the tire. I fixed it myself on the side of the road, and I may stop and get it, or when I get back home, they'll patch it for free if I go over there and get them to rotate my tires. I normally do it myself, but I may do that. And pretty smooth trip other than that. It'd be $1.66 a mile. The grand total on it was $3,811.36. And I did have to buy permits. I bought Arizona. I'd already bought a 30-day permit, which they reimbursed, and I had to buy a trip permit, which they reimbursed. And I also had to buy a New Mexico permit. And I don't remember the Arizona permits off the top of my head, but they're not over, I think they're $65 for me is what I paid for both of them for the trip, and the other I think it's only like $34 for the trip, now that I have a 30-day I'm gonna have to pull it out and look. I think it's oversized, but they reimbursed all that, all the permits, and then the tolls coming across Oklahoma was $25, and they reimbursed that. So grand total $38,1136, and I spent $817.21 in fuel, and that left me with $2,994.15 left over for me to put in the bank. So for me, that's a good week. You know, I've still got to pay the truck payment out of that. I still got to pay the insurance out of that, and my home bills, you know, my personal bills and all that. That's before any of my stuff starts coming out. That's just the gross of the load minus the fuel. You know, that's kind of the net. But I wanted to kind of give you guys that. And like I say, that's another thing. If you get in hearing that big number, if you get into this and you think, you know, if you don't run the same loads what I'm running, if you watch this, if I made this video today and you're not seeing it till a year from now, you got to keep all that into consideration, that things change. And that's why I think a lot of people don't like to break down the money. That's why I don't like to break down the money. Yeah, because I don't want to mislead someone at a later date, you know. Or if you lease in and when I first leased in here, my thought was I was going to pull from Indiana to Florida and back to back, or Indiana to Texas, come back and get one going to Florida, and then go home, because that puts me in the way. You know, that puts me going home in the line on my route. I've ran one Florida the whole time I've been here. I've not been to Texas since I've been with Indiana Transport. I just keep doing the Californias back to back, because just a guy with no high school education. I got my GED, you know, but I'm able to do the $29.94 ballpark, $3,000 a week when I work, you know. But you can't do this week after week after week after week. You'll burn yourself out, and you won't ever want to get back in another vehicle. You won't even want to drive yourself to the store. You know, you got to have your home time, off time, downtime, which is one reason why I'm here. I've already done 2 of these in a row. No hotel room, slept in the truck every night for, I'm gonna say 14 days. It's been 2 weeks, you know. And you gotta get out of the truck. If you don't, you'll burn yourself out, and you're no good after that. But okay, guys, so the Inn at the Pier, Pizmo Beach, the King Deluxe. So he told me when I came in, I couldn't figure out why the lights kept heading off, and the room card, he said I would have to put it in there to turn the lights on, and that's great. I didn't realize you had to leave it in there in order for the lights to stay on. So, note to myself. And then it does have a refrigerator right here. So that's a nice touch. The shower is absolutely massive. I love it. I won't take it home with me, but I'm sure they won't charge me for that. And then this here is pretty nice. All your stuff tucked up under there. Another mirror. Got you in the room safe. Couple of robes. Ironing board. Not really sure how to use that. I've tried before, but it doesn't work out too good for me. It's just always, yeah, I'll make a mess. This is nice. It's my bag on the bed, and I thought that was pretty cool. A little sitting area to do whatever. Good size TV. And then I guess this is the money. This is one more time. And then there's the pier. That is pretty cool. So you guys know there will be another video kind of going over a little bit my stay in Pizmo Beach a little bit better. Also, if you have a YouTube channel and you're watching my stuff, please drop it in the comments. I'd like to check you out. So that's about it for this video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.